Hello, everybody. Jeff Mason with SimpleBiz360 podcast. Hey, we're coming to you today from Chesterfield, Missouri, the home of stlewispodcast.com. New studios. We're now in our fourth episode here. It's rocking in this place. It's really great. Hey, again, just to kind of refresh, who are we? What are we? What do we do? We wrote a book published on September 30th. It's called SimpleBiz360 Timeless Business Tools. 255 of these babies in this book. It can be found on Amazon. You can go to our website, SimpleBiz360.com, if you want to buy it. Click on Amazon straight from there. We do blogs, we do some Tuesday tip videos, and we do a weekly podcast. We're trying to be 10 to 12 minutes. Some go over, but we're in that zone, and we're all about trying to improve customer satisfaction. That's the whole emphasis. That's the whole goal. That's what we do. That's what the book's about too. So, at any rate, it's exciting. Episode 22. We've got Alex on the boards over here. Great job, Mason, in launching the episode and doing the little intro. And let's just dive into this. We're in the communication chapter. This is a fun one. This is one of my little creations, but it is called courtesy communication, and we reference it as C-com in the book. But courtesy communication, what is it? Well, here's the good news. It's generally about 2 sentences, 1 to 2 sentences. Takes about 30 to 60 seconds to email those 1 to 2 sentences. And what it does is it works off the premise of getting to your customer before they get to you. Now, we did an actual podcast on that. It's actually one of the tools in the book. It was one of the early podcasts. We really didn't get a lot of viewership on it, but I encourage you, go back and try to visit that one, because the premise of courtesy communication is saying, hey, I respect your time, whether you're an internal associate of mine or whether you're an external customer. And if you're an external customer, you're saying, hey, I respect your time and your money. And internally, you're saying, hey, I respect your time and your teamwork and the fact that we're doing this together. So I'm going to give you some things voluntarily before you come and ask me. And that's the whole premise of courtesy communication. It's turned out to be kind of one of my little flagship things. I've gotten scores of kudos over the decades, over the years, saying, hey, really appreciate you sending this. Thank you so much for this update. And the way I approach communication in general is when I get something, I use what's called the acronym ARU, and it's acknowledge, respond, and update. And I always, again, you've heard me say it a gazillion times, respond to 100% of inquiries. I always let somebody know I got their email. I never want them to think that email went into cyberspace. So I just acknowledge it. It's the courteous thing to do. It's courtesy communication, right? It's another element, another arm of it. Hey, got your email. Thank you very much. I will look into this tomorrow. I'm on the road. I'll make a call today, but I'll look into this tomorrow. And the you update, I'll give you an update once I have it. And then you kind of put that into that portfolio, if you will, of follow up and follow through. So remember, part of that 3Y challenge is respond, which we're talking about now, and then the follow up and follow through. So follow up and look into what you told the customer you're going to do, and then follow through and make sure you give the customer that piece of information. But do it in a courteous way before they get to you to ask the question, right? I presented this to a VP of sales one time, and he laughed at me, and it's in my book. I'll never forget. I wrote his quote down, not going to happen. Oh, really? You're that adamant against courtesy communication? Because we do none of it in this company. I mean, we have horrible courtesy communication in this company. We did. Nobody communicated anything. I mean, I'd get a call from a customer and go, hey, if I get this order to you by 4 o'clock today, or 5 o'clock today, do I still get the 10% discount? I'm like, well, okay, why would you get a 10% discount? Well, because your company's offering if I get this order to them by 4 o'clock today, I get a 10% discount. Well, where did this come from? Well, it's a special you've had all month. It's a special we've had all month. Really? Could you fill me in? Guy sends me a flyer on it, and nobody ever told me. It just it happens all the time. But you don't want to do that, right? You want to provide courtesy communication for your customers. So what does it do? how does it look to an internal customer? How does it look to an external customer? Let's take a look at a customer first, right? It answers a question they probably have, and that's probably top of mind. I bet you, hey, I wonder when that's going to deliver. Man, I gave them that order 2 weeks ago. Hey, you know what? Just checked on your delivery. It should be going out next week. It's awesome. Great. The guy I was just thinking of that. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many times those dynamics are at play and we just miss it, right? So that's one thing. Provides the answer before a question is asked, which we've discussed, establishes buying confidence, right? Creates and sustains long-term trust between you and the customer. They begin to really trust you. People buy from people they like, right? So they really start to like you. They start to see you as professional. You're winning the middle, right? You're not an either-or proposition. You're right there in their sweet spot. It enhances the perception that you are taking care of their money, right? Perception's reality. We've said it a million times. It is. Perception is not fact. It's reality. It's based on what people think, how they perceive you to be handling them. That's just how it is. It's the law of Iwi. It is what it is. It just doesn't change, right? Demonstrates that you value their business partnership. By offering this courtesy communication, you're showing them, hey, you're important to me. I want to let you know that through how I handle your business transactions. And then enables you to create and deliver on expectation timelines. You establish the expectation, it's now created, it's stated, and now you make sure you follow up and follow through on it to give it that connectivity, weave that thread together through all the elements to bring that home, right? So that's what it's all about. So what does it do for an internal team member? It shows you value their partnership as well. It demonstrates respect for their time, which we've discussed, answers questions they're thinking about as a team member, as an associate, as a cubicle mate down the hall, if you're a bigger company, as a remote access employee who don't forget those remote employees sometimes. They don't know, they're not at the water cooler. They're not hearing some of this stuff. There's a lot of meetings that take place in corporate America, in corporate conference rooms that these remote folks never touch, see, hear, or understand. So, try to include them on it. Paves the way for a stronger partnership, enables your partners to do a better, faster job. Now think of that internal one step further. It's now your vendors. So now your suppliers. Are you going to incorporate courtesy communication with your suppliers? Why not? Then when you need that person to go the extra mile, do you think they do? I think they do. I think they go extra miles more than a couple times. So include them in on it. They're your suppliers. The more they do things successfully and in a timely manner and in a professional manner for you, the better you look to your customers, the better the perception is from your customers about your company, because you've got your suppliers tied into liking you, right? They don't see you as, because a lot of times what happens in that dynamics is they tolerate you. They go, I hate this guy. I hate this girl. I'm going to tolerate this because I need the money, but, can't wait for it. I just wish this guy would never call me again or never ask me questions. I can't stand dealing with them. They tolerate it. Don't. Give them the reasons to like you. Give them the best reasons you possibly can, and that, I think, you'll find is embedded in the whole formula of courtesy communication. Prevents task duplication by other partner associates. How many times have you run into that, those of you in corporate America, where you go to do something, you spend 35 minutes on it, 3.5 hours, 3 days, I don't know, and someone else has done it. Someone else has beat you to the punch, and no one's connected the dots. No one's talked to each other. There isn't that courtesy communication taking place. Hey, don't go get that tracking number. I already sent that to the customer. Oh, thanks. Or the customer asked me to look into this and do the exchange, do the RA number, and set up the return authorization. I took care of it, Jim, Sally. Great. Thank you so much for letting me know. I was just about to do that after lunch. It knocks all that stuff out. It brings cohesiveness to the team. It makes the team work and click a little better. It prevents backpedaling. Hey, you're a corporate manager, you're an owner of a corporation, you're an owner of a small business, solar, you've got other employees, if that's who's listening. Hey, you don't want them spending their time backpedaling or doing task duplication. Mix this into the DNA of your management edicts and how you want to run the company. Let these folks enjoy and explore and learn and adopt courtesy communication. It also helps everyone just be more up to date with things. It brings people up to date. It's just a nice thing to do. So, courtesy communication, tool number 169 out of the communication chapter. Really a cool thing if you can adopt it. And I can tell you with great authority, the majority of these, kick in Pareto's principle if you want, the majority of these take, it's 1 to 2 sentences, 3 sentences maybe, 30, 60, 90 seconds, boom, you're done, and you're making people really happy. All right, so that's a little bit about that. So let's jump into the Lost in the Shuffle track for today. So let's rewind the clock to the the counterculture movement in Haight-Ashbury in San Francisco in the late 60s, right? Some pretty notable bands came out of that whole movement. Grateful Dead, I'm sure you've heard that name. I'm sure you've heard Janis Joplin and Big Brother and the Holding Company. You've heard of Jefferson Airplane. We've got Santana in the mix. We've got Quicksilver Messenger Service. We've got Moby Grape. A lot of wild bands, right? The Jefferson Airplane guys, Grace Slick, lead singer for Jefferson Airplane, she's going through some, recovery from some type of throat surgery I think she had. And a couple of these guys, Jorma Kaukonen and Jack Cassidy, branch off and decide, let's put together a little band and start jumping around. We're Hot Tuna, right? So it's a blues rock band, 69, 70, around that era. And they start touring, start putting together some stuff. And then, they get kind of this inkling to kind of shift into heavy metal and go away from that, bluesy acoustic sound in a lot of ways to a little bit more electro, a little more jumpy, a little more powerful, heavy metal. Nothing crazy, but, cool. So from the 1975 album called Yellow Fever, there is a tune on there, great album. There's a tune on there that's called Free Rein, R-E-I-N. Again, you're going to see it as I'm pointing up to it, the upper right-hand corner of our YouTube screen here, our visual screen. Sorry about it, guys, listening out there, but pull it down on your playlist. Go see it on YouTube. It's Hot Tuna, 1975, Free Rein. Great stuff. We'll see you next week. Thank you so much. Hold on to that sand. Keep pleasing those customers and keep the shiny side up. Thanks so much.